this episode of the news, we take a look at the designers who went on a live stream and showed off certain things like the Razor Crest in full view, the Tantive 4, Boba Fett, featuring a few little insights that you may not know about that's coming up in the figures and action figures and playsets and stuff that we're getting very, very soon in 2021. Also in this video, we unbox this, all the way from New Zealand. Thank you to Greg French. All this and more coming up. Welcome to Usualmike Television, your home of action figure news. Now, each time I make a video that does news related videos, we'll do like reveals and show pictures. We do leaked images and show pictures. And here we do, sometimes there's a video out there on the internet that you guys might not know about or have seen, so I break it down and show you bits and pieces of it. There will be a full link to this video that I'm showing you down in the description below. This is just snippets of it to showcase you guys what's all about. The video is actually 8 hours and 40 minutes long. What a long watch that was. Anyway, this comes from, this is from PIXOLOGIC ZBRUSH. Now ZBrush, you'll hear that a lot during the little broadcast here. It's the designers who make the stuff for Hasbro. Hence why they got this little video. This is like their annual conference. They're talking to each other. People chimed in. Apparently it was streamed on November 9 on Twitch. What the hell's Twitch? I know what Twitch is. We are here on YouTube. Now, the video went up about 24 hours ago. I've watched it through, cut it up for little bits and pieces. I'm going to show a bit here. The first thing I want to show you, oh, the channel has 183,000 subscribers. Wow. Razor Crest. They show off the digital render. They show off the some of the action figures in digital render form. Hence the Jawa Elder. That looks very good. And then they go on and show you the actual Razor Crest in the flesh. So here's a little bit of the video.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, of course, our off-world Jawa, he does not show his soft goods on right now, but he'll have a soft goods robe over him, allowing him also to sit, which there are some existing parts on this that are from an older Jawa that still felt were really, great pieces to use, but we did add, all the different off-world Jawa aspects to him, the necklace and everything, his little kukri machete that he uses to slice open the egg. And then if you look closely at the egg, sculpting the goo coming out of it was a bit of a challenge, but once that gets all colored up, the yolk will be kind of dribbling out all cool and painted up in nice contrast to the mud.
So when you say soft goods, just so everyone understands, you're talking about flexible stuff.
Yes, actual fabric.
Yeah.
Yep. Tailored and sewn to the specific figure to try and make it look, as realistic as you can with soft goods. It's something that does just add a lot of functionality to the figures themselves.
It's gorgeous. I see Tom's got one. There's one physically?
Yes.
Tom's got one?
We can go ahead and switch over that.
Oh, yeah. Show Tom full. Oh,
I actually
This thing's so big.
That
big that thing is.
Joseph, get your wife in there. Show her what you're going to have on your mantle.
This is why I need this.
This is what we could have.
Oh, so you have one. You found one. This is awesome.
Back.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, this thing is huge. It's this is our working model. It's not final. There are still a lot of things going. I can't even get in frame with this, but there's so many panels that come off of this ship. It's hard to. I'm afraid to kind of pop everything off, but it just comes apart, just like in that first the episode where the Jawas just ripped the ship apart. We have these different panels with the escape pod. This thing and I'm not even sure how all of this functions, to be honest with you.
Don't feel like you need to take it apart.
Is he going to break it on screen?
But it's
we don't want you to get an email from David. Okay?
Yep.
But you can see the scale of this thing, the little 3 3/4 figure there.
Yeah.
It has so many parts, so many different things, so many features on this. It's impressive. We worked on the sail barge last year, I guess it was, or a couple of years ago, and that was an undertaking as well. This is just going another level as well.
Dude, that could have been like original Star Wars. That's like a miniature Star Wars, right? Because the original Millennium Falcon was 33 inches by if I remember right, 30 inches in the original movie. If I remember right, you're pretty much at your scale, right? You're 30 by 20.
It's slightly smaller than life scale, but we try to keep, and we do this normally with our vintage, because if we really scaled everything to the exact size, it just wouldn't be feasible for a collector to have these giant ships, you know. But I think what we've done and where we settled on is a nice, it feels right. It's an appropriate size. It's something that would sit nicely on the mantle, and it's really just a fun display piece.
Yeah.
And again, there's so many interactive elements.
For the price you guys are asking for that, that's insane. Only $350 for something like, normally something that large with that much detail is more in the thousands of dollars range, honestly, of collectibles. For kid adults.
When we first went to kick this off, you know, we were actually fortunate enough to get the Lucasfilm file of the ship, the animation file, and so we had a pretty good look at you know what we had to do, and then we were involved fairly early. Sculpting was fairly involved early on to sort of help design, sort of take that apart, understand what are the different levels to the ship, where do things fit together, where can we kind of push and pull things to sort of get that price down for people, you know, to where it can live in that sweet spot, so to speak. So that was.
Looks like it's got some heft to it too. Like
oh yeah,
it is. Oh, this thing is beefy. It is a beefy machine.
Sure.
Wait, before they do that, can you show did the Mandalorian have the soft cloth stuff on it? Just to show the
he
the
does.
people that have the questions about that. Yeah.
Yep. There it is here, and you can it fits well with the jetpack as well. That's the other benefit of having a soft goods cape.
All right, I'm buying 5.
So, woo!
All right, 5 more sold. We use that all the time. The Mission Fleet line we just launched this year. It's a little 2.5 inch tall. Yeah. Mission Fleet figures that, you know, a little stylized. All of those vehicles for that initial starting wave, we did those all in ZBrush. So the Falcon, the X-Wing, the Jedi Starfighter, the speeders, all the little jetpacks and little mini rig things that came out with that line. That was all ZBrush.
Tom, they want to see the Baby Yoda.
They want to see, they want to see the child.
Oh, hold on.
Got to get that Baby Yoda in.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Is it focused? There you go. Shiny pram.
Yeah, he's pretty small too.
He's adorable. Yeah.
Awesome stuff, or as I like to say, lovely, lovely. Next up is the Tantive 4. That is, the guy talks about the modular sets, and they can be put together and build up really big. And he's got obviously one in hand, so check this out.
Yeah. So with our vintage play sets, you know, we're always looking for kind of an opportunity to sort of open up a situation where, you know, there's a lot of opportunities with this. And the Tantive hallway, you know, really showed that, really emphasized that even the set itself in the film was made in a way that, you know, you just turn a corner and it looks like an infinite hallway, or it just keeps going around the same corner. And we kind of use that same mentality to create this vintage playset and the way the different parts snap together. And Tom, if you want to, you know, jump in on that at all and focus on where we want to look at, but just the way it comes together and goes apart, you could, you know, I've got a couple of different versions where you could put it together in different arrangements to kind of blow that out. And all that got tested early on in that concept stage where we kind of were involved in just blocking things out, and then, you know, working with design to sort of like, okay, well, how many different ways do we want this to go together? What can we afford for the price point? All that good stuff. So yeah, we can actually switch out of vintage collection and go to Black Series if we want. And again, if anybody
Tom has it.
Oh
yeah, I want to see the
boom. Moving too fast.
Boom. So this is like 2 sets, not complete put together, but you can see, you know, traveling there, the doorway.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, one of my favorite Star Wars scenes is Rogue One when he shows his power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When Vader just comes through the door like that. Ah, so good.
Yeah.
That was so good.
So this is, how many pieces can this be?
It's honestly infinitely. You could
Infinite?
You could just keep connecting them. We've done a bunch of, I don't know, I think the most I've seen has been 6, but in theory,
like I can see putting down a hallway of your house, like having that down the hallway.
But it's nice too. It's narrow enough. It fits on the shelf. You know, I think it's, you know, from a display presentation perspective, it works really well from that. And you could pop this, I won't do it now, but you could pop this wall off, exposing this side, as Paul showed in the digital version of it. But it works. Yeah, it works really well. It's a fun little set, and there's so many different scenes you could do with this. I think it's been in 3 of the movies, right? Anyway, Rogue One, New Hope, and I think Ep 3 maybe.
Yeah, a little bit at the end, I think. Yeah, have this droid's memory wiped. Yeah,
there you go.
Yep. And so, like, that's the beauty of our vintage collection, is that we love it so much, is that the figures are small enough that you can world build with them. You can make vehicles, you can make playsets. If you try to do that, we can do it limitedly with Black Series, but because the Black Series figure is 6 inches, well, then your X-wing would have to be, huge. And so with vintage, we have that flexibility, and that's one of the fun parts about working on that line.
I'm still a little bit undecided on this. The playset, $99. Oh, it's tempting. It's very tempting. But do I have a lot of those figures that go with it? We'll wait and see. Anyway, next up was the Boba Fett. This is the Black Series version, not the Vintage Collection one. And I'm amazed how many pieces it took to put it together. And they just talk about the helmet removal and all of that. So check this out.
So sort of to jump back to, action figures are, like I said, our bread and butter. We recently, and Tom, this is your baby, so I'll let you lead on this one. But this is one of our recent releases. And if you want to go ahead and talk while I look at it and turn it around, let me know.
Sure.
If you want.
Yeah, so we got the opportunity to redo the Boba Fett figure that was that we had previously done the Ep5 version. And so, when we got the chance to do the Return of the Jedi version, it was like, we got to do this from the ground up. It was really exciting. And it, I think one of the things I like about working in the toy industry or whatever is, the opportunity to try to create something that, you then give to the end user for them to be creative. For example, if it's a kid where they would, make their own adventures with the action figures, or you see now on like Instagram, a lot of toy photographers creating these amazing scenes that are they look like movie stills, and so being able to give or try to make something that gives them the opportunity to express themselves and get these characters to emote and display action scenes or whatever is really fun. So, and what the overall goal to try to do with that is, you're trying to create these little miniature figures, but still engineer them so that they move in such a way where they're fluid and they move in a very lifelike manner. And so one of the keys is trying to figure out, all right, where do we put the articulation? How do we hide the articulation? So for example, a lot of times in the elbows that can get ugly, especially if you go with like a double joint or whatever. So we really try to maximize our range of motion with the joints that we have, but still make it look, as hidden as possible. So
camouflage.
When you zoom out, you hopefully you don't see the discs in there, but they're there.
So you started from scratch then with this. You didn't start with like an old. You're just starting from scratch, complete. Are you sculpting everything first and then doing your articulations for you?
It's typical. I mean, the articulation is always in mind, but you typically sculpt it from. I mean, the figure first. And then cut in the articulation later on. But it's always in the back of your mind as far as where you're going to put the joints. How, for example, like on the short sleeve, kind of lowering that to meet the elbow joint. Things like that. You're always looking for areas to break it. And so I think even in the elbow joint, it runs along that seam of that, the seam along the shirt, the sleeve, I should say. And so it's, strategically just looking for different areas to hide it. So for example, on the thighs, the break is right above the pouch. And that's, again, deliberate. So that when you rotate the leg, it looks normal. It doesn't break the illusion, which is essentially what you're doing here. Is you're giving the illusion that this is a little mini humanoid in there, and then even when you want that illusion to remain, once you do articulate it. Right now, in a neutral pose, that's one thing, but how does it look when you do bend the elbow or the knees or whatever, move the head, and that's so.
And we test all that stuff digitally. So like, you know, taking the joint, actually bending the leg and seeing is that the best way it can be done. And this helmet too, this is at this point, I think we had worked on, you'd gone to the archives and taken 3D scans of the actual Boba Fett helmet to create the roleplay one.
Right. We went to Skywalker Ranch last year and we did a roleplay helmet, and we had the opportunity to go in and scan the helmet, which was a great experience. But then obviously having that asset now was like, oh great, now we have a perfect helmet to add to this figure. And you know, and it translated really well to 1/12 scale as well. So but again, and that's again another thing that we have to constantly consider. Like, you look at the stem on the antenna, it's a little bit thickened up a bit, but that's necessary in order to, you know, for manufacturing purposes and making sure that that is a stable stem.
Yeah. And if it's too thin, the PVC just doesn't want to flow through that channel, and you're going to get short shots and production issues where there's just a scrap rate where you have too many times it failed. And so you have to inflate and enlarge things that way so that you get a higher success rate.
Yeah.
Something really particular I love about our 6 inches is that we can do things like this, where basically the entire chest is a sleeve, and then underneath that is the harder components to allow for the sleeve to be a flexible PVC piece, and then these harder elements, you know, they're more rigid PVC or even ABS in some cases, where you get a lot of range of motion out of it, and you can just have that flexible piece over it.
And that's going back to that idea as far as how do you hide this? How do you make this thing as functional as possible without breaking that illusion, without, you know, putting these really ugly gaps in there in order to make it. I mean, again, if you had that shirt off, that would look hideous. And, you know, it would no longer look like Boba Fett. It would just look odd. So, but, you know, being able to do that and get that done again, this is not something we probably could have done when we used to traditionally sculpt either, where this was all done by hand in wax, and having that kind of control was just not possible back in the day. So again, the beauty of digital is just being able to ideate all this stuff, and from an engineering perspective, and figure out what is possible, and just continuing pushing the limits on that, and just trying to make the best figures that we.
Does his helmet come off?
It is glued on this figure. Yeah.
Yes, it is a separate piece though, so there is a head under there. So we'll just.
Someone wants to know. Someone wants to know: did you make the backpack rocket shoot?
Yes, it doesn't shoot. It is separate. There's no spring-loaded mechanism in there, but it does come out.
For those that don't know, the Boba Fett that has the shooting backpack is very rare, very rare, and it's worth a lot. So if you have one, you better protect it because it's rare.
Don't tell anybody you have it.
A couple $100,000.
How much?
I think it was a couple $100,000. There was very few. What happened was a child, you know, had an accident with a different
Cylon
toy,
Raider,
and then and so that happened while they were making the Boba Fett figure, and they pulled it. So all there were prototypes done, similar to this prototype right here. So this is
boom. So
this is the Boba Fett.
Tom's got my figure up. Yeah.
So this is it right here, but yeah, again, he's got the blast in his rocket as well.
Yeah, that figure comes with a lot of great accessories that, just because I didn't want to bog my ZBrush down with a bunch of high density meshes, didn't want to put in there.
Yeah.
So the cape's not a soft material. This is all hard.
No, this is sculpted. Yep. Yeah. But it's very flexible, so it can act like a soft. Yes, exactly. If he goes flying, he could. Anyway, yeah. So it's, you know, again, the idea of getting this thing to, you know, articulate and move and again, hide in the joints. So it's bending his knee, but it shouldn't be too obvious.
Right.
Yeah. So
and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
But yeah, this guy was a lot of fun. He's you know, can't wait for people to have it in their hands.
When's it available?
This one, I believe it's in spring, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think it's April. I don't quote me on that. I have to double check, but yeah, you can pre-order it now. It's a very cool figure. I'm very happy with this one. And again, he's always been a great character, a fan favorite, and just again having the opportunity to revisit this guy after the Ep5 one was a lot of fun, and I think we got to do a lot of stuff, a new experiments with this that worked really well.
Awesome to see it finally in hand and not a digital render. And finally, the helmet. The Mandalorian helmet coming soon. It's already available for pre-order. Check this out.
We just announced today that we're doing the Black Series roleplay Mandalorian helmet, which is really freaking exciting. And that's just such an awesome design. And this is something that Tom, you were the one who's cranking away on this one. So again, you can leave this one if you want to jump in and talk about any details. But roleplay items are another challenge, outside of just action figures or vintage vehicles, where there's safety concerns and wearability and how much does it look like the prop versus all the different things that we can kind of add into it. And then of course the inside of the helmet is something that got designed specific for this thing, which is pretty cool.
Right. So the inside was taken, we didn't really have much to go off of there. So when you look at, there's an episode, I forget which one, where he gets his chest armor damaged and he flips it over and there's all this circuitry, behind it. And so we kind of used that design language and brought that into the interior of the helmet. And then those little rectangles are little foam paddings. So they're meant to be soft, cushiony material. So this is, so this was pretty fun to kind of work all that out and squeeze as much detail into there as possible. And then you can kind of see there on the left, the battery compartment. This thing lights up. The actual interior of it has some LEDs that light up, so you can see it a little more closely. You can see all of that detail, as well as the flashlight that he uses in, I believe it's the second episode, or I forget which one now.
Which is tricky because you don't really see it until all of a sudden it's on his head. So it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are allowing this to come apart for this too? That people will be able to take this apart, or are you just...
Yeah, you can have it with the flashlight on, or you can have it without.
Okay.
Yep.
In fact, I don't. And then, so we were fortunate enough to get some files from Lucasfilm as well for the prop, and
so we
actually, utilize that to convert that to so that's directly from Lucasfilm.
Oh, it is. This is what you got, and this is where you start with.
So yep.
This
is
in this case,
the 3D
anyway.
scan.
What about the interior? Because he pretty much never takes his helmet off. So what did they give you for that?
Nothing, pretty much. I mean, not. I think it was just a shell.
Yeah, I think there was
some padding in there.
Some raw foam padding for the actor, but I don't think it was actually filled out with detail yet.
No, I don't see a point in it. Yeah.
And then sometimes with reflective objects, you just don't get a clean scan from something that is really reflective. So you kind of have to, you then supplement with whatever 2D you get from the licensor to help, fill out the details and the sharpness and the crispness of things.
Is this going to be crowdfunded as well?
No,
this is available for pre-order, I think, today. Yeah, in this process too, we'll then end up 3D printing a helmet, which I have here, where we can
there it is.
Put it in, and then we bring it around the office and we find people with the biggest heads and we just see if it fits them. And that's kind of the goal. That's only half joking. But yeah, that's the goal.
Looks great.
We want to make it as accessible to everyone as possible. So that's what this is, and we go in and test it out and see how it goes. But then what we have here is this is a early sample, production sample. So this is the finish that we're getting on this helmet, and it's pretty close to what's in the show.
Our designer on this was Sam Smith, and he really went through a lot of trouble to make sure we try and get that finish, because that metallic paint is very tricky, and that's it lived somewhere between vac metal and a metallic spray paint, so we had to kind of dial in exactly what that finish was. which I think it came out really well.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this is a vac metal finish
It is, yeah.
with an overspray on it. If I'm wrong, Sam.
And it's what, ABS? And its main point, ABS? What's the actual material?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. ABS for the most part.
And what did you print? What did you print the other one on? What printer did you? Do you know what printer was?
I think it's in SLA 7000. I think.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, this is again, you can see that I don't have batteries in this one, but I don't know how well you can see because we do have lights that would light up the inside of that.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
So, but yeah, it's a gorgeous.
Tom, they want you to put it on. Tom, they want you to put it on.
Absolutely. Hold on.
Are you gonna do it?
Okay, you can never take it off. You know that, right? That was a trick.
We can still hear you in it. Just keep it on. Just keep it on. We can still hear you.
I'll keep it on.
That's the best mask for the outbreak right now. Eh? That's a good mask.
There you go. I actually saw someone wearing one of our Boba Fett helmets as a mask.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it fits great. It
looks like it moves good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is.
I love it.
The Regalorian. I love that. Somebody just put that in the chat. Perfect. Nice.
I love it.
Cool. So yeah, when you're sculpting something like this, you do have to work very clean, very meticulous on wall thicknesses. It's all very important. So again, another thing where Z-Modeler and like extruding out planes, in that Q-mesh operation is really critical.
And Tom, real quick, someone was asking about the Boba Fett that you did. It's the vintage collection Boba Fett that was $12.99.
No, that one's the Black Series 6-inch.
Yeah,
Okay.
There is a vintage collection one too.
Yes, we at the same time we developed a new Return of the Jedi vintage Boba Fett. It was 100% new. It utilized a lot of the same sculpted parts from Tom's 6-inch, but there's a transition between 6-inch and vintage where we have to change up some joints, the wall thicknesses.
Right.
It's like 61% the scale of a 6-inch figure, so you have to go in and really play with some things. And then some of those features, like the overshirt on the 6-inch one that Tom did, we didn't really have the thickness in a vintage to be able to do that. We had to kind of switch it up and do it a little bit differently. But for the most part, it's a completely new figure. I myself even actually missed the pre-order on that one, so I won't be getting one, unfortunately. I can look at it in ZBrush all I want, but I'm not actually going to get it.
I got you, Paul.
I appreciate it, Tom.
Very cool. I'm very happy that I got tipped off on this. Quick shout out goes to Winston J.H. Thomas. Thank you for the tip off. And he sent me a bunch of pictures, which I've shown as a video to you in this video. So there you go. Thank you, Winston. Now, also, I want to chat about is this. That was found at a Big W store here in Australia. That is the Mission Fleet Defend the Child multi-pack for 39 Aussie dollary dues. Features the Mandalorian the Child with the Pram, Cara Dune, IG-11, let's say that properly for a change, and the Stormtrooper as well. This little pack here was found on my Instagram feed as I was editing the last video, so now we can all talk about it. Don't know why it's in Australia first. No idea why. It should be available worldwide. We just happen to be lucky enough in this country to get it first. Not in my local stores. I've already checked. I'll check tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. See if this pops up. It looks the most interesting out of the lot. I have got the Mission Fleet Mandalorian and the speeder bike with the Pram. I've got that one. This one. Ooh, awesome. And everyone's sort of saying IG-11 in Mission Fleet before TVC. Yes, I know. He's popping up everywhere except for the vintage collection. Let's move on to some unboxing. This here comes from my very generous friend, Greg French. He lives in New Zealand. He's gifted me so much over the time that I've been on YouTube. I really appreciate everything he sends to me, and thank you so much, Greg. Once again, you have mailed it from across the ditch from New Zealand to Australia. Fragile, handled with care. Let's get a knife and open this up. Ooh, no, fell out of shot then. Like everyone, all the fans know how to package things. It's too bad Amazon doesn't. They sometimes get it right because occasionally you'll see pictures that are like this, but most of the time they just throw it in the box without it. Remove some of the wrapping and oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. I'm looking in here and just like, oh my god. No. First up, Darth Maul, Phantom Menace, VC86. Brilliant. This is from the brand spanking new, like the repack wave featuring Wicket, Anakin and Obi-Wan. Awesome. Remember the first time they did this, they had the hood on him, and now that they've done the re-release and they've fixed up his face, they've taken the hood off and put it beside him. So, excellent. Look at that. Darth Maul. Will we see him again? I believe we will, sometime down the track when it gets to like Solo 2, but that could be a long way off. Next one up. That power droid, the elusive power droid. Oh wow, this is going to be my mascot now. I've seen him a few times over. Thank you everyone for sending this figure. Greg, you've gone ahead and sent this one along. VC167. Love the power droid. That back, that card back is just classic, you know. Unreal. From the Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper wave. Have I got him up there? Yes, he's from the same wave as the one on the top shelf you can see there. There he is, K2SO, and Clone Commander Wolf's in that wave as well. Awesome stuff. Oh, jeez. I just keep moving the next one aside and I see, another vintage collection! Oh my god, it's wicked. VC27. Fantastic. I showed my daughters and it's teddy bears. Teddy bears. And Anakin Skywalker. Damn, look at this. Wow. Anakin Clone Wars figure. Looking fantastic. That card back, you know how they make them real instead of cartoon-like? These are in mint condition too. Bloody fantastic. Not a bend. The whole wave's here. Oh my god. Thank you, Greg. Look at this. Clone Commander Obi-Wan. Can you believe it? From the Clone Wars. This figure is brilliant. The face they fixed up, out of all of them, they fixed this up the best. And I've moved it somewhere else now, haven't I? I had the Black Series one. Everyone loves that figure. This one here, just as much love. I've always said, you know, I like collecting Han Solo. I find myself a Boba Fett collector as well. But Obi-Wan always just, it ticks all the boxes. Because human face. The human face, I've always said, very difficult to make. You can always do a nice smooth helmet, but the face is always the best. Oh, it's an Anakin. What have we got here? Movie Heroes one. Oh, this has the little... Hey, check this out. So, let it get him into focus there. There we go. This is from what, 1919? What are you talking about? 2013. Am I in shot there? Well, he's facing shot, and you stick the hand through there and touch his belt, and oh, Toby, lightsabers, lights. Oh, look at that. That's a really nifty little feature. They try to do things like that when they didn't have vintage collection. They're trying to sell you the 5 POA stuff. That's brilliant. Anakin. Awesome. Wow. To complete the set of the Galaxy's Edge Trading Post Mountain Trooper. The only one I didn't have on the set. Awesome. Look at them all. Look at that. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Fantastic. Have I got them up here? Where is my set? They're back here, aren't they? Behind everything. Yes, I've been told in my other videos, you need to get more space. Now I do. I need more space. Let's sit him there. Is everybody going to fit in? Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Mountain Trooper. Brilliant. Oh my god. Darth Sidious and Yoda from the Rebels line. What? Unreal. Look at that. I don't think I had many. And look at that. Another Rebels one. Looks like Zeb. It is Zeb. Zeb and the Stormtrooper. I think I only ever had one of these Rebels lines. I know it was a 2-pack. It was something with a Stormtrooper, but it wasn't Zeb. Was it Boba Fett? I think it was. I think it was Boba Fett. Yeah, it could be because on the back, I'm looking at Boba Fett and Stormtrooper. Here we go down the bottom. Oh, the backs of them. Do you remember these kids? Oh yeah. The back of that one, the battle scene on the back. Just mucking around, talking about toys. And that one up there. Awesome. My Rebels. The Rebels. Now this is something you guys don't know about. Is I started a little collection of G.I. Joes. And from wave 2, I believe, this Gun-Ho! Now, I just love these figures because I'm glad to see G.I. Joe back on the shelves. I very, very rarely bought them in the 2000s, but I did have some from the very early days. Not a lot of them. I maybe had 3 or 4. And I think 3 of them were like, here's one on a card back. But I remember a 4th one was loose. So it might have been a swap from a friend. I gave him like 3 Hot Wheels cars for a G.I. Joe. Look at this, years later. Gun-Ho. Brilliant. Wasn't he the face of G.I. Joe at one stage? I think so. Wow, that looks good. That looks good. I know a lot of G.I. Joe aficionados are always saying, oh, they're not as good as they used to be, but now that they've brought them back, Cobra Commander, oh my god! Look at this! Absolutely brilliant. The card back on these, like the backs of the cards, that artwork, if you haven't seen it before, pick yourself up for G.I. Joe and have a look. Thank you so much, Greg. These are brilliant. I absolutely love G.I. Joe stuff. Number 7 and number 6. Look at that. Good guy, bad guy. And the bad guy. So, Autobots and Decepticons. The Rebels and the Imperials. And finally, unbelievable 3 action figure special pack. Look at this! The Skiff Guards. Oh, wow. Now the names of these guys, Vadame, Fazam, and Brock Starsha, I believe it is, yes? The back of this pack here has the scene with the sail barge in the background and the skiff. That's fantastic. And these figures, are they coming in alright? I hope they're coming in nice and bright and shiny. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. This has been an epic unboxing. There he is, go. The air pillows. Always air pillows. I'm always incredibly humbled for you guys, especially like this, getting gifted all day long. It is amazing. All I do is bring you the news and you guys just spoil me with so much that I can't think is enough. Thank you, Greg. Thank you everyone for watching. There may be another video coming up tomorrow. I'll try and sometimes in the future get some stuff on social media to share with you, because I quickly like to hold them up real quick. I'll try and get some good photos out there for you guys so you can have a look on my socials. And that's the video today. Thank you for watching. If you want to send some fan mail, PO Box 957, Lismore, New South Wales 2480, Australia. And if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe, tap the little bell for notifications, slap a like on this video if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. All the best.